Final news story of the week, and this is like possibly the biggest news story of this or any other week. John, you've acquired a Virtual Boy.
That's right. I have acquired a Virtual Boy. Thanks to a local friend, actually, who gave me a very nice price for it in several games. But what I didn't expect is that this was a boxed, some basically unused Virtual Boy. Like everything was still in its original plastic wrapping with all the ties on there. The plastic is like brand new, untouched. Everything about it looked like it had never been used. The condition is
so I noticed
immaculate.
you're not showing the Virtual Boy. Is it just... Oh, wow, there it is.
There it is.
I was thinking that maybe you didn't want to take it out of the packaging.
No. I've been using it because I'm not somebody who just wants to leave it in the package. I actually wanted to enjoy it. And enjoy it I have, because prior to this, my experience with Virtual Boy was primarily emulation. I only really used a real one for like maybe 10 seconds at like some random show where I was afraid to stick my face in there anyway, because who knows, you know what I mean? But the display, I wanted to talk about it because the displays and the way that this works, everybody always jokes about headaches inducing, which I think is massively overblown, but maybe it varies per person. But this is so neat looking in there because it is some sort of like LED based display, and it uses some sort of like crazy wheel system to sort of like draw lines across it, like sweep lines across the screen, where it's like turning a singular line into like a full image. But due to the nature of how the screen works, you end up with, when you're peering through it, it's pitch black, because it's not like an LCD with a backlight or anything like this. It's drawing the dots directly. So it's very, very dark, which looks awesome. It has very good motion clarity. It's like one of those signs you would see on like the London Tube, you know, like Alex and I were musing them. You remember when we were in London, we were like, man, the motion clarity on that sign is awesome.
I recall.
To me, it feels like they've basically leveraged that kind of LED style technology to make the screen inside the Virtual Boy, so it ends up just looking really, really clean and sharp in a way that you don't expect from something back then. So even though it is all like shades of red, it looks like so cyber. Like it's got this look to it that's really, really cool. And the 3D effect, it actually works. It genuinely does work. It's cool. Like you have the various parallax layers as you'd expect, but because it's one screen per eye, there's zero crosstalk or anything going on there. It is more like VR is today, but you're looking at a screen, kind of like the HMZ T1 I talked about, where it's like a portable viewer headset. That's what this is. It's not VR with head tracking. It is just like you're looking into this thing and you see a big 3-dimensional screen thing projected out in front of your eyes. I was also surprised by the sound quality. Like the speakers are very loud, and they implemented some sort of spatial audio effect. So it feels like the sound is actually moving across and over your head when you're looking inside the Virtual Boy in a way that really surprised me. And like the sound quality and the music quality in the games is really impressive. And the more I played, the more I realized like the form factor and the weirdness of this thing ultimately would have killed it, because the actual games themselves are great. Like it's like, This is like Nintendo doing pixel art on a 32-bit class machine right before they made the jump to N64 and abandoned pixel art for years until the GBA. So you get some really detailed pixel art sprites that are like much higher quality than what you would have seen on like a Super NES, I think, because it is technically more capable in certain ways. Obviously, it's not a color system than what a Super NES can display. So you get these large, expressive, super detailed sprites and characters going around the screen. You get this 3D effect. It just winds up feeling really neat. And when you look at the library as a whole, it's like most of the games are actually good to great. Many of them are just very pick up and play, so which is good for the system. There's only a few real stinkers, stuff like Waterworld and like Virtual Lab.
Oh man,
those are not good. From what I've not actually played those. But the ones I have played, it's good. It's good. So like, I'm happy to finally get a chance to play it. But when you look at the system again, it really hits home. Like they have these rubber sort of like tabs on the side here. Like I'm pretty sure the original concept was indeed that you would strap this to your head, and then something happened and that was not allowed. And so they opted to include this weird little stand instead. So it's like a little desk system. Thankfully, I have a standing desk with a motor, so I can like raise it to exactly the right height without having to bend over and look inside.
It's the weirdest concept of playing a game. It's almost like a peep box. It's so awkward. Like you
also,
just you bend over and you look inside like a little hole, and that's how you're supposed to play. Like
the weird thing is like the battery compartment is part of the controller, and it's also where the power button is. The power button is on the controller. But I actually have the little official AC adapter where it's like this little adapter block where you plug a Super Famicom style plug into it. So you can just run it off of mains instead of having to slot batteries in there.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. I'm happy I finally got to spend serious time with it. I completely get why it was not a success. Like, it's just too weird. It should not have been positioned as a successor to the Game Boy because it goes against everything that the Game Boy had in terms of like portability and just ease of use. And it's a very strange device, but I still think it's cool that it exists. And if you get a chance to play some Virtual Boy, I do recommend it. Although, you know, I'm happy this unit works because, as I understand, there was a lot of issues with ribbons, cables, and all kinds of stuff inside that needs to be repaired, though it is apparently very repairable, which is good. But this one does work flawlessly right out of the box first time I turned it on.
Nice.
So we'll see how long that lasts.
Well, this discussion, I think now I know what that second USB-C port is for on the Switch 2. It's for the Nintendo Peep Box.
Exactly.
Nintendo Peep Box.
The Peep Box.
The Peep Box is certainly an interesting concept.
Indeed.
It could be misinterpreted, Alex.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about like those old timey like things that they'd like put on like the side, you know, like some sort of like weird guy with like a monkey on the side of the road, be like, "Look at my Peep Box, boy. Give me a five. Give me
what?"
you know, like the old timey thing.
This is getting more weird, Alex. You're not helping yourself here. John, I got a question for you because I believe.
Yeah,
I'm trying to segue away from this strangeness, this strange parallel universe of Peep Boxes. John, my question to you: isn't it the case that you could actually emulate Virtual Boy on MetaQuest?
you can, and
What's
3DS.
What is the difference? What is the plus and the minus points?
Well, the plus is just
you could effectively turn the MetaQuest into a Peep Box. That's,
yes. Well, the plus is that it's easily accessible. The negative is that the screens inside the Virtual Boy are designed to run at 50 hertz. There's no flicker.
Okay.
But because it's 50 hertz, you can't do that on a Quest, which means everything has judder, which is unfortunate, right? Because it can't match that. The 3DS emulator, on the other hand, they did implement a proper 50 hertz mode, which switches the 3DS into 50 hertz mode. And everything runs butter smooth on there. And obviously it looks a little different, but it is cool and it's very smooth. The other thing on the Quest 3, of course, it's an LCD, right? So you have the red floating there, scaled up in a weird way. And obviously you have the glowing backlight. So you lose the striking contrast and like the pixel perfect precision of the real Virtual Boy. It just looks different.
Okay.
So it's cool that you can do it on the Quest, and it does run standalone, but it's definitely not quite the same as it. I guess the only benefit to the Quest is that it locks the Virtual Boy screen sort of in the 3D space. So when you move your head around, the screen of the game stays still, right? Since you have actual head tracking. Whereas with the real Virtual Boy, you're not really supposed to move your head, right? You just peer into it. It's a peep box.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay.